Welcome to today's Catholic Daily Readings from Christus Dominus Bread of Life. A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Thessalonians. For you remember, brothers, our hardship and our labor. For laboring night and day, so that we would not be a burden to any of you, we preached the gospel of God among you. You are witnesses, as is God, of how holy and just and blameless we were with you who have believed. And you know the manner, with each one of you like a father with his sons, we exhorted you and comforted you, and we gave witness, so that you would walk in a manner worthy of God, who has called you into his kingdom and glory. For this reason also we give thanks to God without ceasing, that when you had received from us the word of the hearing of God, you accepted it not as the word of men, but as it truly is, as the word of God, who is working in you who have believed.
You have searched me, and you know me, Lord. You have searched me, and you know me, Where can I go from your spirit? From your presence, where can I flee? If I rise up to the heavens, you are there.
If I sing to the depths, you are present still.
You have searched me, and you know me, Lord. You have searched me, and you know me, Lord.
If I take the wings of the dawn and settle far across the sea, even there
Your hand shall guide me. Your right hand holds me fast. You have searched me, and you know me, Lord. You have searched me, and you know me, Lord. If I say, surely the darkness shall hide me, and night shall be my only light.
even darkness is not dark to you. For the night shines as the day.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed sepulchres, which outwardly appear beautiful to men, but inwardly are filled with the bones of the dead and with all filth. So also you certainly appear to men outwardly to be just, but inwardly you are filled with hypocrisy and iniquity. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! For you build the sepulchres of the prophets, and you adorn the tombs of the just. And you say, if we had been there in the days of our fathers, we would not have been their fellow conspirators in the blood of the prophets. And so you are witnesses against yourselves, that you are the sons of those who killed the prophets, and you will fill up the measure of your fathers. Join us for today's reflection. 17 years. That's how long Monica prayed for her son Augustine's conversion. 17 years of watching him chase every philosophy, every pleasure, every idea except the faith she'd tried to give him. 17 years of sleepless nights, desperate prayers, and tears that seemed to accomplish nothing except making her face permanently etched with worry lines. 17 years of people telling her to give up, let go, except that some people just choose their own path. But love doesn't calculate like that. Love doesn't run cost-benefit analyses on whether someone deserves continued investment. Love doesn't follow sensible timelines for when it's reasonable to stop hoping. When love gets desperate, it does things that look foolish to everyone else, like following your adult son to different cities, like never stopping to believe that God hears prayers that seem to bounce off heaven's ceiling. Paul's letter to the Thessalonians reveals this same kind of desperate love, though we often miss it because we're so focused on his apostolic authority. Look at what he says. We worked night and day, that we might not burden any of you, night and day. Paul was exhausted, probably chronically sleep-deprived, pushing his body beyond reasonable limits because he loved these people so much he couldn't bear the thought of being a financial burden to them. This isn't the cool, professional ministry we often imagine. This is someone who cared so deeply that it was literally costing him his health. Paul treated the Thessalonians like a father treats his children, which means he worried about them, lost sleep over them, and probably annoyed them with his concern more than they appreciated at the time. Jesus' harsh words to the Pharisees in today's gospel expose the opposite extreme, religious leadership that looks impressive from the outside but has no desperate love driving it. You are like whitewashed tombs, which on the outside look beautiful to people, but inside they are full of the bones of the dead and of all kinds of filth. Beautiful exterior, dead interior, all performance, no passion. The Pharisees had managed to make faith look respectable while completely removing the element that makes it transformational, desperate love. They built tombs for the prophets their ancestors killed, congratulating themselves on being more righteous than previous generations. But Jesus sees through the performance to the heart that's still capable of the same violence, the same rejection of truth, the same spiritual deadness dressed up in religious activity. Monica's story threatens our comfortable approach to loving difficult people because it reveals what desperate love actually looks like. When Augustine was living with his mistress, rejecting Christianity and embracing heretical philosophies, Monica didn't write him off. She didn't protect her own emotional well-being by letting go and letting God. She followed him to Rome, then to Milan, making herself a nuisance in his life because her love wouldn't let her give up. That kind of love makes us uncomfortable because it doesn't observe the boundaries we think are healthy. It doesn't respect other people's choices when those choices are destructive. It doesn't take no for an answer when the stakes are eternal. It looks obsessive, codependent, maybe even a little crazy to people who think love should be more dignified. But the psalm today reveals why Monica's seemingly excessive love was actually reflecting God's own heart. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? God's love is inescapable. It follows us to the depths, to the heights, to the farthest reaches of anywhere we might try to hide from it. Monica's relentless pursuit of Augustine was an earthly echo of God's relentless pursuit of all of us. Paul's night and day labor for the Thessalonians came from the same source. He couldn't rest because God's love for these people wouldn't let him rest. He couldn't stop caring because God's care doesn't stop. He couldn't protect himself from the emotional and physical cost of ministry because love doesn't prioritize self-protection over other people's salvation. This is where our modern therapeutic Christianity falls apart. We've been taught to love with boundaries, to care without enabling, to help without becoming responsible for outcomes. All of that has wisdom in it, but it can also become an excuse for loving people only as much as is convenient for us. Monica's tears moved heaven in ways that cool, detached prayers never could have. Her desperation opened doors that reasonable requests might have left closed. Her refusal to give up became the very instrument God used to transform not just Augustine, but the entire church through Augustine's eventual ministry. The bishop's words to Monica have become famous. It is impossible that a son of so many tears should be lost. But notice what moved God, not her perfect prayers, not her theological arguments, not her impressive spiritual disciplines. Her tears, her desperation. Her love that had gotten so intense it was literally pouring out of her eyes. Paul describes the Thessalonians as receiving God's word, not as a human word, but as what it really is, God's word, which is also at work in you believers. This transformation happened because they encountered love that was desperate enough to work night and day, love that was willing to exhaust itself for their sake. The Pharisees, by contrast, could build beautiful tombs for dead prophets, but couldn't recognize the living word standing right in front of them. Their love had died somewhere along the way, replaced by religious performance that looked impressive but couldn't transform anyone because it had no desperate heart driving it. Monica died just as Augustine was returning to faith and preparing for ministry. Her mission was complete. She had loved desperately enough, long enough, persistently enough to see God's answer to 17 years of tears. She never got to see how Augustine would become one of the most influential theologians in church history, but she didn't need to. She had seen her son come home to God, and that was enough. The question hanging over all of us is whether we love anyone that desperately. Whether we care about anyone's salvation enough to make ourselves a nuisance. Whether we're willing to exhaust ourselves for someone else's spiritual welfare. Whether our love has enough desperation in it to move heaven, because the alternative isn't spiritual maturity or healthy boundaries. The alternative is whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, dead on the inside, impressive to look at but powerless to save anyone.